Today we are going all the way to Japan. I am not traveling to Japan, but I'm just making something that is from Japan and it's a favorite. So we are making Tang Zhong. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is right, but it's a Japanese bread and it's very soft because it's made from milk and the secret ingredient, which is the Tang Zhong. We've got 340 grams of bread flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 40 grams of custard sugar, 5 grams of yeast. We've got an egg that has been beaten. So this egg is medium size. So if you've got a large egg, you don't have to use all of it. So what you will have to do is you will need to measure 40 grams of that egg, and then you can leave the remainder and use it for something else. We've got 140 mils of milk, 40 grams of butter, that's at room temperature. This is unsalted butter. And then what makes the bread soft is this mixture that I've got here. It's known as the Tang Zhong, or in English they call it a roux. So this has been made using 35 grams, which is a quarter cup of bread flour, and 3/4 cup of water. You mix it together and then you sort of cook it on medium heat. You keep stirring until you've got a thick paste which looks like custard. I've got a short clip that will show you the consistency that you need. And then once it's ready, you put it in a bowl. You cover it with a cling wrap and you let it cool until it comes to room temperature. So now let's get started. I'm going to be using my standing mixer with the dough hook, but to start off, I am going to be mixing things in the bowl before I attach it to the mixer so you can see what I'll be doing. So first we are going to add our flour to the bowl. We'll add our salt. Then we give it a quick mix. It's important to add the salt first before the yeast. Never add them together or put the salt on top of the yeast or the other way around, because salt kills the yeast. We'll add the sugar and the yeast. Then give it another quick mix. I'm adding my egg. Followed by the milk. So the milk has to be lukewarm. So I've just warmed it up. You can see now it's starting to come together. We are adding our Tang Zhong now. Now it's going to be a little bit too hard to mix. So this is the point where I will transfer it to the mixer shortly. It's combined now. So I'm going to add my butter. So our dough has been kneading for 5 minutes and I think it's ready. As you can see, it's very stretchy now and smooth. It's like elastic, so you know it's ready. If your dough is too wet or too sticky, you can add a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of flour. Don't add too much at the same time. This is because if you were kneading by hand, you would have been adding flour as you go. So you can also do the same in your mixer. If it's too wet, just add a tablespoon or 2 of flour. So now I'm going to show you the transference to the next stage. So with me here, I've got a clean bowl, which is where the proofing is going to take place. So I'm just taking my dough from the other bowl And so I've put a bit of oil in here to help with the sticking. So I'm just going to roll it in that oil. And once that's done, you cover your bowl with cling wrap, or you can also use a damp cloth like a dish towel, and then you put it in a warm place for about an hour or until your dough has tripled in size, and then you know it's ready. So I'm just gonna put my dough in a warm place now to proof, and then I'll be back to show you. So this is my dough. As you can see, it's tripled in size, and I'll show you a little trick. A good way for you to tell if your dough has risen enough is if you put your finger through like that. It stays, you can still see the hole. So that's a sign that it's proofed enough. You can see all those holes that I have popped in. So now I am going to take it out. Just deflate it and take out all the air before I divide it. So I am going to cut into 3, but in case it's not accurate, that's when I use my scale to weigh to see that I've done it right. What you then do is you want to keep the 2 that you're not using covered so they don't dry out. So what I want to do is do this with my hands. So once I've done that, I am just going to fold it like that. And now I am going to roll it. Just move it. Okay, so once I have done that, I will then be rolling it into a rectangle, making sure it's nice and tight. And again, so it doesn't dry out, it has to be covered whilst I work on the rest. So that's what you do until you've got all 3 of them ready. So I've got my 3 portions rolled out and I've put them in the tin. So now I'm going to let it proof again for about 30 minutes, or you just want it to rise until it gets to that rim on the top there. Don't let it overflow. So just depending on how warm it is, it might be less. But as you do that, remember to turn on your oven as well. This is the time to preheat it. So you're preheating it to 175 degrees, and this is without a fan. So my oven has been preheated and my dough has proofed the second time. And now I am going to brush gently with some milk before I bake. Now off it goes into the oven and you bake for 20 to 25 minutes. I recommend checking at the 20-minute mark to see if it's done. And because I brushed with milk, it will have a nice golden brown color. You can do an egg wash where you brush with an egg that's mixed with either water or milk. I just went with milk because I like the color. So now it's gonna go and bake. So there goes our bread. It's ready. Hot straight from the oven. You can see it's nice and golden brown on the top. And that's because I brushed with milk. And I am just going to quickly brush it with some butter whilst it's still hot. And now another trick, I will cover this for about 10 to 15 minutes. This ensures that it traps all the moisture and it's nice and soft. So after the 15 minutes or 10, I'll take it out and then I'll let it cool completely before I enjoy it. It's delicious. You can actually just use your hand to separate